So this is kind of a testing 1, 2, 3 sort of deal. Hi folks. I'm trying to see if my whiteboard actually works, and I really like the whiteboard, but it sure does not seem like y'all can see much at all on it from that far away. And definitely over here on YouTube, it does not look like you guys are seeing much of anything on that whiteboard. So, is this why people do like screen overlays and fancy stuff like that? I'm all by myself. The best I have is a whiteboard. Otherwise, the rest of that's too techie for me. Let's see if more light helps. I doubt it. It's going to wash it out, doesn't it? What do you guys think? Well, regardless of whether or not you can see the board, we can still talk about energy, about the energy body, about the structure of the energy body, about specifically today we're talking about the nadis and the energy channels, the sushumna, the nadis, the energy centers, and the flow of energy. I think a lot of people are familiar, at least on a basic level, with the chakras, and what the chakras are for, where they are, sort of, and what colors they are, sort of. But we don't get a lot in terms of mainstream information about how they move and how they interact with each other, and how the elements in the body are associated with the chakras, and how they move through the body as well. My friend, my limited knowledge stops at chakra. That's all right. Hang out if you want to learn a little bit more. We're not going to go like uber deep into all the layers, but we're going to kind of cover the basics of how the energy moves through our systems and what channels it moves through. And then knowing the channels, then we can use different tools to align, to balance, to affect these energy channels, or the energy and the elements in our body. If we have too much air element flowing through our body, we can, hey Brian, we have too much air energy flowing through our body, it can make our brains feel really quick. It can give us those racing thoughts and that anxiety sort of feeling. If I have too much fire going on in my belly, I can physically feel really hot. I can be struggling with big emotions like anger or frustration more frequently with excess fire in my belly or in my body. So when we talk about these things, when we are informed about how these systems work, we have the ability to then work with the systems. My dog, you were happily laying over there until I turned the camera on. Have you become a ham? Are you a ham? Can of spam?
Spam ham. So again, sorry guys. I don't know how else to get the board to work besides just using bolder markers. So I guess that's what we're going to have to do next time. But I will be making content on this stuff this year, this month. Again, I have not been entirely on schedule for making that content, so keep your eyes peeled, and I will try to get a little bit more of that content out this month. I just have to be less picky about how it looks and things and whatnot. So, for those of you new here, hello. My name is Reverend Deborah. I'm an interfaith minister, a movement facilitator, and your shenanigan shaman. And this is Ajna. He's the real healer here. Yes, sir? You want me to put you outside? You need a hug? You need a hug? You need a hug? Okay, come on. I'll put you outside. I'll be right back. All right, y'all. I don't have a script for this. I do better off the cuff. So feel free to throw out questions, and we're just going to go ahead and start with talking about the energy channels. I am going to give it a couple more minutes because I know I had some folks who said they would filter in and wanted to come join us. If you know anybody who wants to know more about the energy body, the chakras, the flow of energy, send them this way. I'm looking for a chair. I don't even really have one. Hold on. Rickety old classic. Making sure I didn't miss any questions here. Just starting, Mary Beth. Yes, we're just getting started. I put a poll up in our Discord to ask the community what days you guys would most and what times you guys would most join lives. And Wednesdays between 2 and 4 was the highest voted one. So this was a last minute live, but I am going to try to do Wednesdays from 2 to 4, and then we're still going to have our 10 a.m. on Friday classes. Thank you, friend. Thanks, Leb. So yeah, come in, hang out. I'm going to use bigger markers so you can sort of see what's going on over here. Grab your questions and grab a pencil and paper if you would like to keep your own notes about these things. Because they will be helpful in the future. They will be helpful. What was I doing? What was I getting? Was I getting something? I have my coffee. We are live on YouTube and on TikTok. And replays for all of our classes are on TikTok. Are on YouTube at Move With Change. Leb, oh, you see them? Do you see the bigger marker? Oh, yeah. All right, I am going to make the comments bigger so I can try to see those a little better. Let me see. My hula hoop. Cat-tastics. What are you guys doing? Cat shenanigans? Hula hooping keeps me sane. Hula hooping is one of my favorite ways to move energy, actually. There are techniques that we can use to balance and move and flow, keep our energy flowing that we often don't even think about as like healing tools, because dance, just movement at all, going outside and stomping, taking a bath, there are quite straightforward things that we overlook as really powerful healing tools. Which is why I always say, you are your own guru. Follow your impetus. Follow the thing that you're like, if you're frustrated and you feel like shaking your body, shake your body. You know that animals out in the wild, when, let's say, a deer, for example, gets chased by a mountain lion. Let's say the deer gets away, lucky deer. And finally, when it's safe, will stop and shake. It will shake its body to release the adrenaline, to let it continue flowing through the system and out of the system instead of getting stuck in our systems. But how many times do we have an emotion come up and we go, and we tuck it in, or an energetic, right? Something happened within our systems and we're like, stop, freeze, hold, attach a story to it. That's how you hold. That's how you lasso that stuff in and rope it in and then tie it around your belly or your throat or your ear or wherever it is that you want to compartmentalize that emotion, that feeling, that sensation, that thought, that story. The stories we tell, the spells we cast make these things real and are the ways that we write them onto our own flesh. Humans are so detached from our natural selves. I would have to say that we are actually quite attached to our natural selves. Yes, we've forgotten a lot of these ways of being with that and being aware of that. But when I talk about the chakras and the energy body, I want to point out I have never met a person with closed off chakras. I have never met a person who had a shut down energy system or who couldn't access source energy. Prana, that life force, that universal life force, that life spark is flowing through everybody and everything. Are we unaware of it? A lot of us are unaware of it. But as we talk about in these classes, like for example, how do I feel my energy body? How do I know I have an energy body? What do you mean? How do I feel the movement of energy, right? Many of us will go, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know how to feel energy. But tell me, when you're sad versus when you're angry versus when you're happy, can you feel that difference in your body? Then you can feel your energy body. Hey, badass blind woman. Hi, we care. Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. I thought I missed a comment or so up there. Forgotten. Yes, Mary Beth. I'm very big on semantics in here. Again, the spells we cast, right? I like to say what I mean and mean what I say and be very clear about what I am conveying in the words that I use, because we can accidentally paint ourselves into a corner of I'm broken, I'm disconnected, I'm stuck, I'm right. Like these words that we use then are written into our internal self-talk and written into the wiring of our brain and the way that we perceive the world and perceive ourselves. This is how self-sabotage gets really, when you want to get really, really deep into self-sabotage, the very things that we say about ourselves and about our lives and about our energy and about other people, these are confessions for the ways that we are manifesting things in our lives. And yes, I know that immediately makes you want to go, and kick yourself a little bit. But let's not add shame and blame and guilt, because that's just going to repeat those patterns. That's just going to deepen those patterns. Leb, feeling where you hold emotions in the body can be useful in releasing them. Absolutely. And we're going to learn some tools for that, as well as just the awareness, just practicing the awareness for noticing when those things are happening. Okay, catching up on comments, guys. Hey, Madcrest, welcome, welcome, welcome in. Hey, Footy Dudes, hello, everybody. Okay, so for those of you who are new here, just briefly, hello, my name is Reverend Deborah. I'm an interfaith minister, a movement facilitator, and your Shenanigan shaman. This is our CAYA community space. CAYA stands for Come As You Are, because authenticity is the purest expression of you. Authenticity is the purest expression of divinity as it flows through you, right? The purpose, if you're wondering, your purpose is to be you and to figure out how to fall in line with and uncover the truth of who and what you and your energy really are and are doing and are meant for. I like to equate it to the collective being a chorus, and we each have a note to play or an instrument or a piece of this song, and we all got to find that note. When we are out of balance, when we've forgotten, when we feel like we are not connected or we are not aware of what our song is, it can be really hard to find our purpose, to feel aligned in life, and we end up running into barrier after barrier after barrier, or stuck, difficult. Why the hell is life so frustrating? Well, I'm a C note over here with the G's, and it's sounding kind of funky because I'm the only, analogies. There we go. CAYA community, this CAYA community space, we do say come as you are because that's the purest expression of you, and that's what we're going for here. However, and the mark of a tolerant society is intolerance of intolerance. So in this space, to be truly authentic is to recognize the value of self being equal to the value of other. So in practice, that looks like simply meeting each other with curiosity and willingness. If you don't like the content that we're talking about in here and you want to debate me on its validity, I encourage you to send me a message, or even to come into our Discord and come talk to the community of people who are studying and practicing these things too. This live is not really the space to have a full-on debate. I'm happy to have those. We have record of energetic in the energy body and energy channels and energy work and whatnot as far back as 1500 BC. If you'd want to argue with me, if you want to argue about it, honestly, you can go to the studies and you've got a million people you can go argue with about it. I'm not in the business right now of debating on whether or not this is true. It doesn't have to be true for you. We choose our reality. And if you choose that this is not valid and not part of your perception of the world, that is perfectly okay and perfectly valid for you to make that choice. This is not the space for you to push that perspective on other people. The people who are in this space are here to learn something that they feel aligned with and they experience as a truth. I don't want to argue about universal truths or personal truths or subjective or what have you. We are just going to talk about the subject matter, and you're welcome to stay if you'd like to hang out and learn about this. If you do not and you'd like to be dismissive or combative or put down other people or whatever in this space, we will just go ahead and mute you. Again, this is about personal responsibility. You are responsible for where you are and what you do in each space that you are in. Okay? Thank you. I love you all. You guys can be awesome, personally responsible folks. I love that. Red Mama Yeti, can every chakra be clouded, stuck, muddy? Not sure the word. Not good. We can. We can find ourselves quite out of balance. It doesn't mean we're ever beyond repair. We Care had someone challenge me to pick up a song to myself of love. Great exercise. Nice. Yes. I have some mantras and self songs for those kinds of things too. All right. Are you ready? Now, without further ado, again, I apologize to those of you who can't see this board. I will do my best to try to deal with the white balance and use bigger markers and whatnot. YouTube. Can you guys see this okay? On my camera, it looks almost completely whited out. And you guys too on TikTok, huh? You see it? Fantastic. Okay, good. Good. Except when I stand in front of it, right? Okay. So, Very first and foremost, we're going to talk about the chakras, location of the chakras. If you've been in any of my classes, you've probably heard about this, so just sit tight for a little bit and we're going to get into the nadis and the Sushumna and the other energy channels and the elements too, okay? So, this is why I don't plan these, because I don't even know like where, this is such a huge body of knowledge, where to start is always funny to me. So, when we talk about the chakras, we are not talking about a pinpoint spot on the body. We are talking about an energetic vortex. These vortexes are actually associated with different parts inside of the physical body as well. So, and that associates each of the chakras with different body parts and physical processes that happen in our body. I love working with the energy body because the energy body goes through all layers of the physical self, the mental self, the emotional self, and the spiritual and the causal self, the bigger aura, which we did talk about a little bit in January, and we'll go over maybe a little bit here too today because I didn't do this class last month. So, location of the chakras. We will start with the 7 core, that's not 7, that's 2. 7 core chakras, beginning with the root chakra. If you are sitting down right now, you are sitting on your root chakra. If you put your hand underneath your seat, you're probably going to be touching your root chakra. Your root chakra is represented by the color red. And when we say represented, do I mean we just arbitrarily pick a color and put it with that chakra? No. Chakras have a frequency, a wavelength, there's the word, a wavelength, and that wavelength corresponds to the color red. So around the tailbone, Pootie Toots, thank you, vibration, yes. So the root chakra is the entire pelvic floor. If you want to get a little more pointed, if you were to put your pinky finger at each of your chakras, you would put your pinky finger on your perineum. Now it includes the tailbone, the anus, the butt cheeks. Your root chakra also includes the upper thigh area, but your sacral chakra is what rules your, let's say, your intimate spots. Okay, just got to be careful with what I say here on the lives. So the root chakra is on the bottom, down here. Your sacral chakra, and that reaches up to about the base of the pubic bone. Okay? From the pubic bone to the bottom of the belly button, this is your sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is all around the muffin top area. Oh, your chakras also have a front and a back, okay? The root chakra faces down the bottom of your system, and then the top of it or the back of it, the other side, is your Sushumna. We'll get up there. Or not Sushumna, your crown chakra. We'll get up there. The sacral chakra. If you were to put a pinky finger right on your sacral, it would be just below your belly button. This is what we call our umbilical cord to the universe. And it's the color orange because the frequency, the energy that moves through this area is the same wavelength as the color orange. Someone referred to them as reproductive organs, felt G-rated for using during guided meditation. I know, I'm trying, I've got to... Hold on, let me not get sidetracked by a conversation about being able to say what we mean versus not being able to say what we mean and what that does to our throat chakras. But anyway, so first chakra, the root chakra, the color red. In Sanskrit, it's called the Muladhara chakra. And this is our grounding. This is our center for I exist, I am, I have a right to be in my body and to be on this earth. This develops for the first, in utero, to the first 6 months or so of life. So the things that happen in your immediate surrounding environment, inner and outer reality, during those first 6 months of life and the information you get while you're growing in utero will affect how your root chakra balances itself. It will affect the energy signature of your root chakra. Sacral chakra, between the belly button and the pubic bone. That develops between the ages of about, 6 months to 2-ish, to right about 18 months or so. is our umbilical cord to the universe. And this is asking, will the universe meet my needs? Can I be comforted when I cry? If I ask, if I'm hungry, right? If I ask for something, will my needs be met? If I'm tired, will I be able to take a nap? It's associated with connection and our relationships, but it's also from a kind of passive place, whereas our relationships in a more active way are up here in the heart chakra. The sacral chakra is much more about our deeper connections, the ways that we are around each other, the intimacy. Yes, this is our center for intimacy in terms of the way that we relate to each other and the way that we relate to ourselves, as well as the way we relate to our parents and our siblings and our friends. So there is, hey Jeremy, how are you? Thank you, friend. Sacral chakra. Okay, the front of your chakra, again, if we were to pinpoint the sacral, I would put your pinky finger just underneath your belly button. When you do that, you may notice a shift. You may feel it when you poke your chakra like that. Don't worry, you're not totally messing things up. And if you aren't noticing those things, don't worry at all. The awareness of these energies is something that we can cultivate. So then we'll move up to our solar plexus. Your solar plexus takes up the area between the top of your belly button and the base of your sternum. So this whole soft belly, that's your solar plexus. This is the wavelength of this chakra is the color yellow. The solar plexus is also called the Manipura chakra, the Muladhara, the Svadhisthana, and the Manipura, the solar plexus chakra. This is my center for will. If you have ever seen a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old in their full force glory, that is the solar plexus figuring out that, wait, I can do something, I can take something, I can bite, I can scream, I can run, holy moly, I can. I will. This is my center for will and my center for control, my center for the way that I get things done and my impetus to show up, to be heard. Now, this gets more refined as we go up a little bit, but in what do we call this in the West? The terrible twos, because it's the first time our authentic full expression starts to show up in the world. And in Western culture, we're not very good at receiving that. We try immediately to start boxing in that energy and say, no, you're not allowed to be loud. You're not allowed to act like this. You're not allowed to do that stuff. That's when those boxes really start to be put around our energy, and more intentionally, I suppose. Seattle Dad, is seeing my aura as red bad? Just learned how to see it last year. I personally would not say that anything that you see your aura as is bad. Bad is a judgment that we make usually out of not knowing, right? Or out of worry. Like, oh God, is it bad that it's red? I encourage you, if you're able to see them, or even if you're not, and as you stick with us this year, keep a journal. Keep a journal about the colors that you see, the energy that you see and experience, and track that journal, because your aura changes. Your aura changes, it fluctuates, it breathes, it has a kind of breath to it. Christian Cox, hello, my friend. Do I love God? Absolutely. I am a non-denominational reverend, and have been for 11 years now. I have a deeply personal relationship with Christ and with God, and actually it was my experience with Christ that was able to allow me to connect what I was feeling in my system and the deeper teachings about how we are all interconnected. And I really encourage folks who have been taught that learning about the chakras or the energy body, if you've been taught that this is bad and you're willing to set down that judgment, I encourage you to hang out, because this is really powerful stuff. And it was through a lifetime of work and practice in this regard that I found the temple of Christ in my heart. That I can hear so much more clearly the communications between me and Source, and angels and guides and all those things. It was with working with my energy body, aligning myself with the energies of the universe itself, with Christ, with God, that brought me the healing and brought me to the place that I am now. This information does not deny the presence of God. If anything, I have found that it confirms it. So, Brandy, I can't get past my heart chakra. What do you mean you can't get past your heart chakra? Thanks, guys. I love you. Remember, the deepest truths are truths that we find in all stories, right? And we find deep, profound truths about ourselves, about each other, about the universe when we understand this integral piece of the energy body. Brandy, you say, while meditating and breaking through the chakras, I got from root and stopped at the heart. So just briefly, to briefly address it, I'm going to pin it here so I don't forget what I'm talking about, because it happens. So first and foremost, when we are working with the energy body, we want to approach the energy body with subtlety, with gentleness. So when we are addressing our energy body or our chakras or our emotions or energy patterns with aggressiveness, with force, even with the concept of breaking through them we can accidentally push too hard. When we push too hard, what happens? Our internal defenses pop up and say, whoa, 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 this is a gentle, fragile place in here. You don't get to come in screaming and swinging. Many of us, actually, most people I know have defenses that have been built by their energy based on their earliest experiences. Remember that my body is my ally, my energy is my ally, my chakras are my allies. This is my team, this is my crew. They are here to protect me and have been protecting me since the moment I was born. They are the ones who develop these triggers and habits and ways of protecting the fragile parts of self that we may not even be conscious of, because a lot of those patterns are rooted in our earliest experiences. So if you are moving through the chakras while meditating and you find that you hit a barrier in your heart, instead of trying to push through with force, I invite you to just sit with that barrier. To sit back, meet it with curiosity and willingness, and invite it to sit with you. No need to push, no need to change, no need to break or to pop or to adjust anything. Just like you would with someone you cared about, invite them to sit with you and be present with whatever they have to share. And in the sharing, in the presence, in the willingness, we almost always receive opening. We almost always experience opening and expansion. Hey, Byron, how are you? You don't have to be worried about disturbing. Please ask questions, guys, at will. I will keep coming back to this and we will keep talking about the chakras. I like the questions, and that's why we do these things live, so you guys can pop up with the questions that you have. Shira, this kind of gentle release idea is a breakthrough for me, trying too hard. Me too. But also that's something we're taught in the West, is to go through life like this, just screaming, running as fast as you can, trying to get everything fucking done, and then fall on your face to go to sleep, and then get back up through life, and then. So when we go to meet our spiritual self or our emotions or our subtle energies or our inner child, what do? We try to move fast, and we are so worried about how long it's going to take for us to heal that we are desperate for it to happen right now. Guess what? The paradox is that in my I need it right now, I push it further away. Brandy, you say that you just stopped there at the heart and tried to meditate to see where you were blocked. Yeah, you are very welcome. Yeah, I would just honestly keep a journal. Okay, I will offer, really briefly, I will offer a tool for communicating with your chakras, with your guides, with your body, with any other part of yourself. This is a very simple tool. It's called, it's got, I don't know what name it is. I just call it two-handed writing, or non-dominant handwriting. So with your dominant hand, write down your question, and I encourage you to use free form writing. So start writing about your heart chakra. Start writing about everything you experienced while you were in that meditation. And as you are freeform writing that, not worrying about grammar or spelling or even how the words look, it's not important. When you get a response, an answer of any kind, stop the freeform and use your non-dominant hand. Yes, I know it's going to be difficult and look awkward, and that's the point. It gives you more focus and more attention on the response and starts to cultivate a relationship with these inner voices or the inner teachings or the things that your body and your energy and your chakras can actually tell you. Hey, thanks, Joy. How are you? So, alternate hand, yeah, non-dominant hand writing. This can be really helpful. I used it for various bits of pain and discomfort and whatnot in my body, and it's very effective. I really enjoy using it. Again, you just freehand write your question or your concern or your topic here with your dominant hand, and when you get the response, every time you get the response, don't skip a response. Every time you hear it, no matter what it says, use that non-dominant hand and give it the time and attention it needs for you to spell it out. Hold on just a second. We care. I am a godly woman with deep scientific study. This only deepens my connections with spirit. Honestly, when I was young, I wanted to be a nun, and I quit the church and went to school and came back to source through my education. Yeah. So I'm grateful I'm not the only one, right? I'm grateful that it's a good path that we can integrate these things together and they don't have to stand in opposition to each other. Okay, so precious time wasted. You say that someone who said they could go into people's dreams through their door, your door was blank. I don't know what you said at the end because it just says my door was, and what does that mean? If you'd like to message me with that question, feel free to do so. That is about astral projection or remote viewing or astral travel kind of stuff. And right now we're not talking about taking our energy body out and going other places. We're just talking about the channels and energy within the body.
Mom,
yes.
Could I have some yogurt french fries?
Yeah, of course. Get yourself some lunch, okay? Okay. Pooty Toots, would an overall weak pelvic floor, birth set aside, be a partially root chakra issue? Yes. A weak pelvic floor or an overly tight pelvic floor can both relate to the chakra. Remember, the chakras also breathe, so we can at any point have the chakra can go deficient, pulling energy in and desperate for energy and not being able to pull energy in successfully, or it can go to an excess and then try to dump or push energy out. And even if we have, so it'd be just an imbalanced chakra. I don't like to talk about our chakras as perpetually deficient or excessive unless I really, really see it that way. Usually it's a fluctuation. But yes, the pelvic floor has to do with your root chakra, and depending on, yeah. Thank you for the follow, Nicole. Precious time wasted. Your door was closed and had a peephole. I'd say keep your door closed. Good for you. Not everybody has a good boundary on their dream state, on their dream space. You're very welcome. Okay, so we have made it 3 chakras in. For those of you just joining, we've gone through the root chakra, the sacral chakra, and the solar plexus. Now we move up into the heart chakra. The heart chakra is located from the base of the sternum up to about the collarbone area. It's your chest. It's all around the rib cage. Remember that these are not exact points, right? These are not compartmentalized like hard lines between each. The energy and the energy from each chakra is going to blend into the ones before. And if we have a really big heart chakra that pushes out a lot of energy, it's going to spread through the other chakras in a different way, versus if our solar plexus is really huge and our heart is kind of quiet, then that energy is going to move through the other chakras as well. Ah, G-boy, we will get to the third eye chakra, to the pineal gland. So the heart chakra is located here. The heart chakra vibrates at the color green. This is our center of our energy system. And remember that piece, because we're going to come back to that. This is our center for the heart. This is the heart chakra. This is the I connect. This is my ability to interact with others and connect with others on a different level. Hey, Larch, rather than these more egocentric chakras down here, our ability to maintain and develop and even understand and perceive of relationships or other people's thoughts and feelings doesn't really happen until we get to this stage of about 5, 6, 7. So there's a great book that we talk about in child development called Playground Politics. And they talk about how about the age of 7 is the first time that we can cognitively perceive of, let's say, I am friends with Sally and Susie, but Sally and Susie go and I see them on the playground playing with each other, a game with each other. If I'm younger, I will feel left out. I feel like maybe Sally, or they're not my friends anymore, they've left me, what's going on? When I reach the age of 6, 7, 8, I can start to perceive of, oh, they have a relationship too, and it doesn't negate me. Before that age, I can barely even perceive of the fact that let's say my parents have their own relationship. I am very egocentric because I just don't have the perception that somebody else has other relationships or a life outside of what I perceive. We're stuck mentally in that space, and energetically our body is figuring those things out and helping us open up to these understandings. So the mind develops along with the body, and the chakras and the social emotional development, all of these things fall onto the same path of development. That was a gift I got from going to college. Okay, so what else? It's called the Anahata chakra in Sanskrit. Now we're up to the throat chakra. The throat chakra is general. Oh, I was going to talk. Sorry, I was giving you guys a pinky for each one, right? If you put a pinky on your root chakra, it's the middle of your perineum. If you put a pinky on your sacral chakra, and I encourage you to do this because if you're sensitive to energy, you may feel a jolt when you touch each of these chakras. There's so much information, guys. Sometimes I vomit information, and I apologize. I try to reel it in and try not to give all the information all at once. I'm trying to make it so. Okay. Root chakra, sacral chakra, just below the belly button. Poke your sacral chakra just below the belly button. The solar plexus. Poke that solar plexus pretty much right in the center of your gut. Here's my belly button and my sternum. Right in the center. You may notice that it needs to be a little lower or a little higher for you to feel that, whoa, like somebody poked your energy center. We move up to the heart. The heart's going to be right in the center of your chest. Now, the back of these chakras, the sacral chakra, the back of it, if you put your hand on your low back directly behind, sacral chakra, front, back. Solar plexus chakra, front, back. I know it's hard to see, isn't it? Mid-back. Heart chakra, front, back. Right in between the shoulder blades, right up there. So yes, the tightness in your upper back, the issues you have with your shoulder blades and that stiffness and whatnot, that's the back of your heart chakra being out of balance. Throat chakra. If you put a pinky on your heart chakra, it's going to be right here in the center. If you put a pinky on your throat chakra, it's actually going to be on the lower side of your throat, not all the way down in this little pool here, just a little bit higher. And this radiates at the color blue. Now note that I say the color blue, and you can have a wide variation of what that color looks like. Is it bad to have a super deep blue chakra? No. Is it bad to have a really light baby blue chakra? No. Okay? We're not going to take any of this from the perspective as either good or bad, period. All of those colors, frequencies, if you want to call them blockages or imbalances, are all opportunities for us to learn about our systems and to realign. This is how we learn how to realign our systems, is by being out of balance. So thank you, my energy body, for giving me the opportunity to realign myself, to find balance. So the throat chakra generally radiates in this general area here and does include the shoulders, the neck, and the mouth, and the ears, and the nose. So your throat chakra manages all of this stuff here. The back of the throat chakra is right behind the front. So you'll notice something. My sacral chakra, parallel to the earth. My solar plexus, front and back, parallel to the earth. My heart, parallel to the earth. My throat, parallel to the earth. The root is facing down to the earth. My crown is facing up to the sky. So this is the top and bottom of my central energy channel that runs through the center of my being. From that central energy channel, we have parallel branches that come off for each of these energy centers. Now, I know I'm missing a chakra, aren't I? The third eye chakra. I'm sure most of us are familiar. If you put a pinky on your third eye chakra, it's going to be right there above, between your brow, just above your nose, between your brow, just above that. This is represented or radiates at the color purple. Usually a deeper purple, but again, you can have a very, very light color. The front is here. The back is your pineal gland. The back is where your neck, your spine meets your skull. This chakra is the only one that's at a different angle. But what angle is that? It's at 45 degrees. It is the communication highway between higher and lower states of being, between upper glide, source, cosmos, wherever you want to go with it, and all the way down into the deep, dark depths of your own shadows. This is how we stay connected. Communicate, right? This is our telephone. Okay. Let's see. Sanskrit, this is the Vishuddha chakra. This is the Ajna chakra, and this is the Sahasrara chakra. So we'll go through them all in Sanskrit. Muladhara, Svadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Ajna. I'm sorry. Sahasrara. My dog's name is Ajna, so... He's going to think we're talking about him. All right. Thank you guys for the follows. Feel free, again, as we move through this information, feel free to ask questions at will. There's no specific time for Q&A, although maybe I'll stop here in a little bit once we cover all of this stuff and we'll do more Q&A. But if you have questions, feel free to throw them out and we can pause and get back to it. All right. So now that we have the location for each of our chakras, the top and the bottom, the angles, the front and the back, and the one angled one here. The question is how does energy get into our systems and how does it move through our systems? So I have, as I mentioned before, that central energy channel. The bottom is my root chakra. The top is my crown chakra. This is called, in Vedic science, this is called the Sushumna channel. It is, I like to envision it like a flute. And these are the different holes on the flute. Right? I like to talk about us as having a song, as my unique purpose is to resonate at my frequency, resonate that song, to sing that song out to the world. So the energy comes in both through your crown and through your root. Have you ever seen the image of the toroidal field of energy that's around the earth? You have the same one around your system. That energy comes both in both sides and out both sides. Energy is very dynamic in our systems. It doesn't just move in one way. It moves up and out and up and down, out and in, all around, and even reverse, I guess. So energy comes in through these two centers. Your crown chakra is our solar energy, is the source of that solar or celestial coming in from the cosmos energy from source. The root chakra is the lunar energy, is that earth energy building us up, right? The ethereal stardust coming down and giving us life, the material mud and dirt and whatnot that makes us of the earth, right? So these elements come together into the heart. As I said before, the heart is the center of our energy system. I like to call it our it's the center for well, I call it a bunch of things apparently because my pirates have a bunch of names. The energy, the solar and lunar, the masculine and feminine, the yin and yang energy comes in through these two channels, these two openings, and manifests into creation. Because those energies come into the heart and they give life to the defibrillator cells. Remember, we're crossing layers here. We're not just talking about the energy, we're talking about the physical aspects of the energy body as well. Your heart is made up of something called defibrillator cells. Those defibrillator cells work together to make your heart go ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. If your heart doesn't do that, your whole system shuts down. It's that energy coming in, that life force coming in, the prana, that gives it that ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. When it does that, it generates the toroidal field, the electromagnetic field that manifests around your body. This can be quite large and expansive, and it can be quite contractive. We're going to, as we move through this year, you're going to learn all sorts of tools to check in to where your energy is and how to expand it or how to contract it if you really want to. I don't recommend it as a regular practice. So, comes in the heart and manifests this toroidal field of energy. And again, the energy goes up, the energy goes down, the energy goes out, back and forth. Your chakras also have a rotation as well, right? There's several rotations of the energy field as the energy comes in. This is my right side just for reference. Here's my right side, here's my left. Red Mommy Eddie, I love Tom Cohen's work that the heart is a vortex, not a pump. Ooh, I haven't heard of Tom Cohen. My first exposure to this concept was through my favorite herbalist, Stephen Herod Buhner. Stephen Herod Buhner is one of my favorite authors. I have several of his books over here, and he writes a book called The Secret Teachings of Plants. And he actually discovered the heart vortex and these other things through his herbalism journey, as well as through his spiritual journey. So thank you for the suggestion. So we have our toroidal field of energy. As the energy comes in through each of these openings, the top and the bottom, it then circulates through our chakras to give them a rotation. So a lot like the way your toilet bowl is going to spin this way or that way. Somebody asked recently if the energy system, if the chakra system spins differently if you're on the southern hemisphere, and I don't have an answer for that, but that's a very exciting question. And if anybody has an answer for that, I would love to have that discussion with you. All right. So this is where I have this from. This is why I have this here, so that we can talk about the energy and the way that it flows in, because this piece is a little bit difficult to visualize. The yin and yang energy come in. Jello, hey, how are you? So when this energy comes in from the crown chakra, there's our Sushumna channel that runs from the crown to the root. And then we have two minor channels that are called nadis. We have our Ida and our Pingala, the yin and the yang. Thank you, friend. The lunar and the solar energy that move through our system. So these two nadis, the right side is your Pingala. That's the solar energy. The solar prana is an upward energy that lifts us, that gives us vitality, that energizes us, that wakes us up, right? It is a moving out, moving up, the expansive energy. Whereas our yin energy, our lunar energy, is more of a passive, stillness kind of energy, downward flow of energy. Thank you, friend. So the energy comes in through the crown and goes directly into the third eye. So from the third eye, wait, see, I have to stand here and do this. Let's not mark on my face. If my right, let's start at the third eye. If your right side lifts up and the Ida, the left side, comes down, what direction? Imagine these as pulleys and each of the chakras as wheel, because chakra translates to wheel. That spins. What's the direction as pulleys? My Pingala goes up, my Ida goes down. That means that my Ajna chakra, my third eye, is going to be turned to the left because those pulleys, those belts, are going of energy, are moving that direction, right? So they would turn my wheel that way. That makes this a lunar energy chakra. This is a yin chakra. My third eye. So now we have that, the energy spinning this chakra in that direction. Shit. See, I can't do this backwards and forwards, guys. Damn. Okay. You're going to have to just bear with me here, and we're going to draw it here in a second. So that means my Ajna chakra, my third eye chakra, is moving to the left. So now these pulleys cross between my chakras and turn my Vishuddha chakra, my throat chakra, to the right. If those pulleys keep intertwining between my chakras, they're going to pull them in alternating directions. Left, right, left, right, left, right. This gives you an idea of the energy of each of these chakras, right? The yin energy, the receptive energy that is the third eye. The yin receptive energy that is the heart. The yin receptive energy that is the sacral. The yang energy, the solar active energy that is the solar plexus. The active expressive energy that is the throat chakra. Now you'll notice, right, that the root chakra is yin energy. It connects me to the grounding, to the earth energy. But it also has a masculine aspect to it because of the way that the system is designed. Same with our crown. Our crown is both masculine and feminine because source is both masculine and feminine. And both energies flow up and down and in and out through these. So here's a really fun piece. If the front of my chakra turns in a particular direction, the back turns in the opposite. That means the yin energy of my heart is here in the front. The yang energy of my heart is here in the back, is experienced in the back. Every chakra center, the whole self to be balanced needs a balance of that solar and lunar energy. That means that the masculine expressive chakra here is in the front of my throat. The passive, the yin or the receptive, is here in the back. And you can, yes, equate these to energies or imbalances or pains or patterns in different parts of the body. Rachel, what if your back heart is not letting out what it takes in? One of my favorite meditations. Thank you, Rachel. Let me pin your question here. I will offer you, whenever you guys ask these questions, I try to offer the tools that pop up. I have a massive toolbox back here because I've been studying this stuff my whole life long, and I really, really love it. And I found all of these ways to intertwine it with a bunch of other teachings and concepts and whatnot. So I allow the trolls, the mind pirates, to pull out tools for you guys when you ask, which is why I say, please go ahead and ask your questions. So what if your back heart is not letting out what it takes in? My favorite meditation, it's a meditation along with a mudra. Kai, will I be reposting this live anywhere? Yes, my lives will always be on YouTube. I move with change on YouTube. I move with change on TikTok. All of the replays are on YouTube. I'm live right now on YouTube too. Zenzi, do I have this info as a recording? Replays on YouTube. Please go follow me on YouTube. I'm trying to build that channel so we can actually somehow monetize content, because I like to teach this stuff for free. I'm not going to nickel and dime you guys about this stuff, because if we were standing in the grocery store, I would give it to you for free. Okay, so Rachel, let me offer you these tools for the back of the heart chakra. There are two pieces to this. First, the Padma mudra or the Anahata mudra. There are several. The Anahata mudra is a little more complicated, so we'll use the Padma mudra. This is the lotus mudra. It's relatively simple to do, and if you can't quite get it, the key is to just get as close as you can. Bring your wrists together. Touch your pinkies together and the sides of your hands. Touch the sides of your thumbs together and keep your hands nice and open. Make this really lovely little vase. Oh, unable to verify. Hold on, guys. Are they going to kick me out? Yay, we did it. Okay. The Padma mudra. Create this really nice little chalice and place it here in front of the heart. Hold this here in front of the heart, and the most important thing when you do any of these practices is not to be as directive, but more receptive. So when you grab this mudra and hold it in your heart, hold it at your heart, pause for a moment and just notice what shifts happen. Your awareness is a really important skill to have. The only way that you're going to get deeply into these things and figure out these things is by cultivating your awareness of it. So take those moments to pause. Thank you for the follow, friend. And notice the changes just by holding the Padma mudra. Now, if you are a visual person, you can add a visualization. If you're not a visual person, you can still set the intention. You don't have to see it in your mind. You don't have to hear it in your ears. You don't have to have any specific experience of it. Your intention is enough. Your intention and your attention. So hold your attention on whatever sensations are happening in your heart. And then, if you'd like to add the visual or the intention, imagine that source is flowing prana like water, just full on pouring a bucket or a vase or a waterfall of that prana, and you can see it however you want to see it. You can imagine it a certain way, or you can just receive whatever you see and receive from it. You might notice smells, tastes, sensations, sounds, as well as sights associated with the intention to receive prana pouring into the Padma mudra. Now, the visualization is that when it goes into the Padma mudra, it filters right into and through the heart, creating a waterfall that exits out the back of the heart and down the back. Let that flow down the back. Whoo. And big, deep breaths. Keep breathing. Notice the way that the heart rises and falls with the breath. Notice the way the rib cage expands. Make sure the breaths are nice and deep so you can expand all sides of the rib cage, front, sides, and back. Really bringing the breath into that back chakra. Opening the front to receive this prana. This is my favorite for any stuck feelings in the heart because it just washes it clean. I encourage you to keep a journal or notes for all of these practices, because We don't want to attach a story too much. We don't want to go down a rabbit hole to while we're in the practice and sit there going, wow, I noticed all of this dark debris energy coming out of my back of my heart. I wonder what that means. Maybe it's from this and that and that and that. Your attention has just wandered away from your intention, which was just to receive that prana to clean out the heart. So when you're sitting in the practice, keep that focus. Every time your mind wanders off and wants to tell a story, wants to ask a question, wants to worry about something, wants to tell you you've got other shit to do, come back to what you're doing. If you need a timer, use it. If you need a mantra, use that as well to keep yourself timed. But as long as you're here, keep your attention with you, aligned on your intention. When you release the practice, grab that journal and write all the things that you can remember. What is most important to you will stay with you. Everything you need will stay with you. Don't worry that you're going to forget the most important piece. You won't. Sometimes we get little messages that are hints for the future, not always the full story of what we need right now. Nice, Rachel. You got an ocean moving through you. Thank you guys for the follows. Okay. Padma Mudra is what that's called. And the visualization is just to receive the prana and let it flow through the heart chakra. You are very welcome. So one more thing, a good way to release the heart chakra if you're feeling really stuck, if the body itself is feeling really stuck. That silly to-do mind can be brutal. It really can. If you're feeling the physical symptoms of your back of your heart chakra being really stuck, one of my favorite practices to do, you can do this on the edge of a chair, you can do it on the edge of a countertop, you can do it on a table, whatever, balcony, whatever level works for you. I'm going to go ahead and just turn this way and use the chair. Sorry, Ajna. And tilt down like this. Okay, can you guys still see me okay? Yes. All right. There are various yoga poses for this, and like down dog and things like that, but this is a nice way to, without getting into a yoga pose, that you can do. Again, you can do it in your kitchen on your countertop. So bring your hands together like so. Put your elbows on the edge of the counter or the chair, and then scoot back far enough to drop your chest down and let your head hang. Make sure you breathe. And then slowly come up the same way you went down. That can be a quick release for the upper back, the back of the heart chakra. I physically have back of my neck and heart things going on that I'm still trying to heal and deal with. So that is one I use pretty regularly. Katrina, don't dislocate your shoulder. Remember, in this space, right, I am not in your body. I am not in your space. The joys of teaching like this means that you guys have to be responsible for yourself, for your body, for the way that you show up and get into these practices. So you are your own guru. Make sure you guru you as best you guru can. Yeah, Ward? I like this one. You want to know a secret about this flannel? About this Pendleton? I found it at a thrift store for like $3. And I was so overjoyed, like I nearly cried. So I brought it home, and I actually had intended to buy it for my partner at the time. And it happened to be too small for them. So I didn't intend to buy it for myself, but I ended up ending up with it. So it was a killer deal, Ward. I was like, you guys don't even know what you have. Okay. So we talked about the location for each of the chakras. We talked about the color of each of the chakras. My friend, you say you already know that you are responsible for your own happiness. Good. That's fantastic. Some people are not aware of that, and many of us are conditioned to expect others to bring us our happiness, or material things outside of us to bring us our happiness. So if you are already aware of that, my friend, fantastic. I encourage you to share that knowledge and encourage others to find that within themselves too. So we've talked about location of the chakras, the colors of the chakras, the Sanskrit names for the chakras, the fronts and the backs of the chakras. We've talked about the Sushumna energy channel, the main energy channel that runs through our whole system. We've talked about the nadis, the minor energy channels that move from the third eye, and then in between each of the chakras, interlace in between each of the chakras to give the wheel their turn, right? And then we've identified which are our yin or passive or or lunar feminine chakras, the third eye, the heart, and the sacral. Then we've identified the masculine chakras, the solar plexus and the throat chakra. Both the root and the crown are both solar and lunar energies. So this month, we are also covering the elements in the body and the koshas, or the layers of self in the body. Last month, I offered tools, all different tools for the aura. The aura is the energy field outside of our system. Isn't it? It's actually from a thing. It's actually from a thing. Thanks for noticing, Rachel. Let's see. Do you guys have any questions? Any other questions about the chakras, specifically about any specific info about the chakras, or movement of the chakras, or tools for the chakras? If anybody wants tools for specific chakras, I can offer those. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and move on to the elements in the body and how we access the elements in the body, or at least my favorite way to access the elements in the body. Bridget, how to heal anxiety. How to heal anxiety is by learning about how our energy manifests and learning to meet our energy and to, I always call it negotiating, to negotiate with my energy and so that I can repurpose it in a way that's productive. I want to go back briefly with that question, how to heal anxiety, to the development of our chakras. Our chakras develop like so. Root, 0 to 6 months. Sacral, 7 months to 18 or so months. Solar plexus, from about 18 months to about 4 years. Heart chakra, from about 4 to 6 or 7. Throat chakra, from about 7 to 9, 10, 11, and then we start working into these upper chakras as we get a little bit older. The development of the chakras it's not perfectly linear, but the major development happens in those stages. From about here, between the heart and the throat, down, you are relatively unconscious. The human brain, when it's born, is in the theta brain waves. Theta brain waves is our REM sleep time. As an adult, you drop into the theta brain waves when you're asleep and dreaming. As children, we do not come out fully of the dream time of the theta brainwave state until the heart and throat development. So during these early stages, what the hell is going on? I'm not even fully conscious. Thank you, friend. So how are these patterns being wired into my system? Because my energy itself, my energy body has an intelligence of its own, right? My energy, I'm designed to be protected by my energy centers. So that first 6 months, the question is, am I safe? And if my body, if my energy receives the information, think about this, stop the blame, stop the pointing fingers, let's not even talk about what the fuck happened. It doesn't matter right in this moment. What matters is how my energy body responded to it, period. And two siblings in the same house, two people in the same classroom could have very different responses, right? So if my first 6 months of life gave my energy, my system, the message that I wasn't safe in my body, that energy is going to respond by becoming either more excessive, more deficient, or by moving the energy up into a different space. Usually, okay, so 6 months old, and I feel like I'm not safe. Okay, for some reason or another, my energy is like, it doesn't feel safe here, it doesn't feel safe here. So what happens? The system creates a defense mechanism, and that defense mechanism is going to be unique to you because you are a unique individual with a unique energy signature. So your unique interaction with the energy outside of you and the way that your body, the energy responds to it, you're going to develop a kind of defense. And maybe that is to disassociate from your body. Or maybe that is to get really deep in and feel that so deeply it makes you cry out for help. Sacral chakra. An infant crying alone in their crib, say 7, 8 months old. Pausing to let my own energy balance and to ground. So if I'm not safe in those first 6 months and I pull the energy up into my sacral and I start asking the universe to meet my needs, to help me feel safe. Maybe I start asking my caregivers for more connection because that's what makes me feel safe. As an infant who has otherwise been in a body the whole time, then to be on my own, I need a lot of closeness to other humans, particularly to the one whose heartbeat I heard for the first 9 months. So now we're in the sacral. And my sacral may start to develop a little early because the energy from my root was like, oh, we got to do something about this. This will later become an ego manifestation, a trigger response. This may be the lifelong thing that I'm dealing with when I feel disassociated from my body. When I'm in my 40s and for the first time I'm getting into my body. That's root chakra imbalance. That's root chakra. I want to steer away from using trauma. That's root chakra experience that taught you to move it somewhere else, to do something else with it. So we're in the sacral now. And if I'm crying and my needs aren't getting met, then what happens? I have to move it again. Maybe I find out that cookies and ice cream or something is really nice for giving me that feeling of sweetness and comfort. So maybe at that very young age, I start to seek out the pleasure-seeking behaviors that give me that feeling of comfort in lieu of the evolutionary need, the expected need of closeness to other humans, to safe, compassionate, loving humans. Let's say I don't get those. Let's say I realize the cookies aren't doing it for me, and I can't get them met any other way. Again, pull it up into the solar now. Now remember, this is ages 2 to 4-ish. And this is my first experience of I can go take the toy I want. I can follow my mom around screaming until she fucking gives me what I want. Right? I have much more capacity to interact with my world and demand that my needs get met. Just those 3 experiences alone are going to manifest things like disassociation from the body, anxiety, overeating, seeking excess pleasure seeking, or an inability to experience pleasure at all. We may experience lack of pleasure, lack of connection in our sacral development and decide, you know what? I don't need it. And become hyper controlled because of this, because that energy moved up in the solar plexus. Bridget, I would hide in my third eye or just leave my body completely from fear. I needing to learn grounding. So those of us who experienced several or what they now call, right? We now call it CPTSD because we experienced prolonged or repeated experiences of not feeling safe, feeling hurt, or we could call them trauma or just dangerous or upsetting or not safe experiences. When that happens, the energy may go up, 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 and we may become very talkative. We may become about a whole lot of nothing. We may become very spiritually minded and maybe even constantly, only positive people here kind of thing, like super, whatever that word is. Disassociating from these lower experiences, disassociating from the body, and disassociating from the shadow self, disassociating from the imbalances below. We may intellectualize all of our feelings and intellectualize all of our experiences. And I may go toward talk therapy because I feel safest here. If I feel safest here, this is my safe place for me to be. And I want you to stop right this second. I want to stop right this second and note this. We just talked about how all these things develop. And in the background, when my energy moves up here, or my energy does this, or my energy tries to satisfy this, or my energy moves and creates this trigger, this is my team of allies. This, my ego, my energy system, this is keeping me safe through anxiety, through control, through anything. Remember, the energy body does not decide if it's right or wrong, morally right or wrong, or the energy body does not decide whether or not it's going to be acceptable by society or not. It does what it can in the moment to best protect you. And those protections are going to remain in your system until you address them. I like to think of them like armored soldiers standing at the door to my inner child, or my vulnerability, or even intimacy, right? Or safety in my body. Hell, for a long time, there was a guard at the door to my body. And when I would sink down into my body, into my lower energies, it would make me feel fearful. So I'd jump back out of my body. Because we're taught to be afraid of those things, or we're taught to ignore those things, or we don't have any reference for how to meet those things with compassion or grace or anything. So we go, oh, whatever that is, I'm just going to avoid it, right? I'm probably broken. I'm probably something wrong with me. Maybe my doctor can fix it. And we end up with chronic issues in our body, in our energy patterns, in our emotional triggers and whatnot. Any trigger that lives within you is a response to your energy body trying to protect you. That anxiety is a friend of yours, is an ally who is telling you every time you feel it that something's out of alignment. I need your attention to help me move this in a more balanced way. DNA, all key factors to heal. You're very welcome. That's why I offer these things for free. I call this revolutionary content. This is radical content because we live in a world where everybody outside of you is going to say you've got to pay them really high prices for the information, or you've got to get a specialized doctor or whatnot, or you can't even learn it because you're not from a certain place or don't look a certain place or didn't have your parents teach you whatever, or you're not a spiritual whatnot. But let me tell you that this is the most powerful knowledge that I have discovered from, and I've looked. DNA, you always say your brain signals and the body reacts. Control your reaction to everything. So I like that you said that, DNA, because it brings us back to the center of self. The heart responds first. We now have scientific evidence. We now have studies that have been done. If you're curious, there's a organization called the Heart Math Institute. And they have done ample, extensive, expansive study on the heart and what the heart is actually for and what the heart does. And we have now concrete evidence that our heart is the first and foremost interaction and communication that we have with our inner self, our outer self. It's our first point. There was a study done some time ago on whether or not we have free will. Do you guys remember this one? On whether or not we have free will. And they used a computer where we were supposed to answer a question as it popped up as quick as possible, right? And as they were doing this study, they continuously found that something occurred before, in the system, before we made the decision. And sometimes even before we saw the stimuli. And so they were like, we don't have free will because the brain is not making the decision. We think free will exists in the brain. But if my brain is not aware that I have choices at all, then my brain can't exercise that freedom. That understanding comes from my heart. That awareness of the expansive, of the reality of the choices that I truly have, comes from a deep understanding within the heart, not from the limitations of the mind. The mind is really, really good at creating patterns for us. Our mind is really, really good at keeping the programs running in the background so we don't have to think about breathing and talking and moving. But that's how all these things get wired in long term. The way I walk, the way I carry myself, the way I speak are all rooted in my early experiences and how my energy body settles and become my unconscious processes. The way I speak is directly related to my earliest experiences and how my energy body has decided it's safest and best to speak. I may not realize that I even have a choice to speak differently until I bring the awareness of that there. The source of our awareness, the source of the expansiveness of our awareness occurs in the heart. DNA, the brain always tries to protect the soul and body before we get to realize it did it. The brain is keeping all of those things filed. The energy body, my ego, my energy body, these are all aspects of my protectors, of my truth, of my experiences, and the residual of my experiences. My brain then files all those things away and wires those things in and turns them on as background static. Now, thank you, brain. I don't have to think about all these little processes. I can keep moving forward. But the crux there is that the brain likes to confirm what it already knows. The brain is keeping us safe by trying to be right, honestly. Even if you're not a Virgo. Our brains are always looking to confirm itself. Because if we are aware of and familiar with our surroundings and our environment, then we can perceive threats or not, and we can feel safe. Again, my brain is an ally, but it's not my captain. It is not the wisest person not the wisest part of my ship. It's more like my librarian. It's very useful for what it does, but I don't let it drive the ship. I used to let it drive the ship. Along with my emotions, right? How often do we let our emotions grab the steering wheel and take us for a fucking ride? Ryan, your crown chakra is buzzing. Fantastic. That can often mean just a nice open experience. But again, I encourage you to keep notes of any experiences that you have in regard to your energy body, in regard to your chakras and any of these things, because they're going to be most important to you. And keeping track of them like a daily journal of some sort is going to actually give you a framework for how your energy body moves and breathes and changes and adjusts, and how these tools that I'm offering here as well help balance them. Love you too, Ryan. Okay, Pisces here. Hi, Virgo sister. My moon is in Pisces, so I feel you. You guys are very welcome. Just as a side note, I think I have the angle off here. Just as a side note, I do have a Patreon. I am Move with Change on Patreon. If you feel compelled or called to support the work that I do financially, there's several levels of membership over there. You can do weekly stuff or monthly stuff. I mean, monthly memberships. There's also group coaching as well as private coaching memberships. And I also have a tip jar if you'd like to offer donations or gifts through here are always appreciated. Again, you guys keep the lights on. You guys keep the internet on. You guys keep the programs running so that I can do this, and I deeply appreciate it. If you follow me, you can join the Patreon for free as well, and you'll get updates and notifications about things. There's also a link on the Patreon for you to join our Discord. We have a Discord space where we freely discuss these things at any hour of the day and night. But all those are free to join. You don't have to pay me for anything. All you got to do is show up to TikTok or to YouTube, or go find the replays on YouTube. Thank you, Ryan. Elevating the collective. Oh, and if you are curious, if you want I do have in my shop on Patreon, patreon.com/move a change. In the shop, I have a $5 PDF. It's 4 pages, and it gives you a daily check-in, a practice assessment, and then I can't remember the other. Oh, one is an energy body assessment. So it's got an image of the whole body and a space for you to color in what color your aura is, how your energy feels, how your chakras feel. I created it as our Inner Light series map, our Inner Light map, because this whole year I'm doing what I'm calling the Inner Light series, so that we can talk about all these layers of the energy body. January, we talked about the aura. February, we're going into the elements and the koshas and the nadis and sushumna, the energy channels as they move through the body. Next month, we will talk about the earth chakras and the lower chakras in the body. And then April, we will move into the root chakra, and we will spend 1 month on each of these different chakras all the way to the crown. And then in November, we're going to talk about the stellar chakras and the solar ones and the star chakras way up there. And then in December, I have a surprise for you. And for those of you who get yourself that Inner Light map and keep record of these tools as you go through this year, and the more you show up and the more you receive these tools by December, you're going to have all the tools you need to do this really awesome thing with me in December. I'm really bad at keeping surprises, so I'm going to try really hard to keep it as a surprise. We are one. What to do with negative thoughts? I like the way you answered that. Like, just what to do with negative thoughts. You can do anything you'd like to with negative thoughts. You don't have to do anything with them at all. My favorite way to meet negative thoughts is with curiosity and willingness. I use a tool called internal family systems to separate my thought or emotion from myself, and I imagine that it's sitting across the table from me or sitting on the couch beside me. And when it pops up, I imagine that it's a friend who just said some negative shit. And I ask myself, how would I respond to that friend or my child, right? Or my lover, if they were to say something about themselves, say that negative thing out loud. How would I meet them? Would I meet them with judgment, guilt, shame? Would I tell them to fucking shut up, cut it out? Oh my God, stop. Don't talk about yourself like that. Or would it be more supportive for me to say, are you okay? Where is that coming from? Or, I hear you. Do you need a hug? Or maybe to just go, and let it float away. It's when we attach to them and chew on them and swallow them down and put them back in our belly, that they keep coming up to be regurgitated. I like to talk about our emotions and our thoughts and our energy movements and whatnot, triggers, as belches, as farts that are just trying to get out of your system. That repeated emotional trigger is not there to attack you. Remember, it's your ally. It's trying to tell you something underneath is rotting and needs you to get down in there and clear it out. But if I keep ignoring the response, I'm not ever going to get down to the root of that thing. So if I meet anxiety or fear or negative thoughts like this with negativity, how do you think they're going to respond? My defenses are going to stay defensive. I'm going to perpetuate that. Negativity begets negativity. So we can't always meet ourselves with kindness. We can't always muster compassion, right? Sometimes it's a repeat negative thought. And you're like, ah, that's your genuine response. Oh my God, why does my brain keep thinking that? Okay, but then take a deep breath. Turn to it with your hands like this and say, what do you have? What do you need? Do you just need to say some shit? Sometimes our systems just need to off gas. Sometimes there's a need that gets communicated when we pause and breathe and listen to our systems. But that, again, takes awareness, takes cultivation, and takes a willingness to show up, a willingness to align your intention and your attention with each other and come into your inner space curious and willing rather than defensive and combative. Thank you guys for the follows. You are very welcome. Yes, Zenzi, I do have a Discord too. The Discord link for Discord is on Patreon. I do believe I have a link in bio that sends you to Patreon. There's a free link there. Also, if you just are lost and don't know where to find it or don't want to go and find it, send me a message. I do my best to try to check my messages after the lives, and I will send you a link directly to join our Discord. It's totally free to join. Again, the only thing I really charge for is if I create a workshop or I create a PDF, I'll put those in the shops or in the shop. And if you want coaching, either group coaching or private coaching, those things are available for purchase. Otherwise, information is free. Knowledge is power. And you have every fucking right to cultivate your inner strength. Find your inner captain and stand squarely in your authentic truth. I know we live in a world that says, don't do that. Because they don't want you to be autonomous and powerful. They don't want you to know the full capacity of your inner strength. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to be controlled. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to be poked and prodded and pushed around and pulled for your energy or your resources or your time and attention. Those are your most valuable resources. Everything in the world right now is trying to get your attention and your time and your energy. Learn this stuff. Hang out with me, and I will show you how to reel all that back in. Sorry, now I'm thinking, there ain't no strings on me to cut those strings. Yes, son?
Is there anything I can do besides homework? Because I have gotten 4 things turned in.
You can get ahead of your homework, or you can go outside and play with dog. I've got about 20 minutes. I want to get through a little bit more information here before I turn off the live.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, you might say no.
Then let's not ask it right now because I'm not negotiating. We have a boundary about you coming in when I'm in lives, right? You have tasks that you can be doing right now. So please go do those. And we can talk after. Okay?
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too. I'm going to see if Cal will get back.
Okay.
Double check.
Okay. Hey, Thor, how are you? Thank you, guys. Let's see. Okay. So, I know that was a big, whatever it's called, conversation, but it's really, really important that we always come back to this realization, this understanding that your system has your best interest at heart. Your energy, your emotions are working for you, not against you. It is our misconception that ego is bad, or our emotions are messing with us, or our body is out to get us. Please do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and start to shift that narrative. It's going to free you from so many of those fucking shackles that were put on you when you were really young. Okay? Jared, hey, how are you? Have I ever seen a guy on here saying the Bible is about the 7 chakras? Interesting. So actually, there is a great deal. Again, as I said earlier, the most, I think, in my opinion, the most important truths are the ones that we find in all the different stories and all the different narratives. And the reason the chakras and the energy body work is really powerful is because the numbers, the frequencies, the correlations that are here within the energy system can be found everywhere else in religion, in numerology, in science, in the functioning of our planet. The tree of life is here in the body. I mean, what's his name? Who did the Da Vinci? Da Vinci's man, right? With the circle and the thing around, all of those angles, all of those numbers and things within it is all encoded with the same information that's here in the chakra system, as well as in the base teachings, the core teachings of Christianity, of biblical stories. But I'm not going to get too deep into those pieces yet, because we've got an entire year to talk about the energy body, the energy channels, chakras, and how they interact with our world and how we can address and balance our systems. But I encourage you to go down that rabbit hole because it's pretty amazing. Hey, Derek. I've been sitting, Derek, you say, I've been sitting with a not necessarily uncomfortable but persistent pressure in the head for days. It feels like the energy wants to go somewhere but doesn't know where to go. So the tool that just popped up, the pirates suggested Brahmari breath. When we have tension, there is a mudra for releasing tension in the head. Called the Mahasirs Mudra, but the Brahmari breath is one of my favorites and, in my opinion, most effective for clearing tension out of the brain, out of the eyes, out of the ears, out of the head, out of the mind, out of this fucking soul. And it goes like this. Yes, my friend that I can't read your name, the Fibonacci spiral. Everything in the universe is growing in line with that Fibonacci spiral, is expanding and rising. That's why I say again, your entire system is your ally. Your entire system and the universe itself is leading you toward self-actualization. The universe itself is lifting you into your healing and into higher frequencies. Evolution, collective evolution is happening. These shifts, the awareness, what's what I'm looking for? The collective enlightenment is occurring as the same way that the tides move. There is not much you can do to resist it unless you are actually trying to resist it. And you will feel resistance in your world and in your life and in your mind and in your body and in your emotions if you are going to hold on to a rock and demand that you're not going to go in flow with the universe. You are a tiny little speck in that river, my friend. The river of the universe is so fucking massive and huge. I highly recommend you take the chance to let go. When we let go of that resistance, it often feels difficult at first, and we end up feeling like we're getting banged left and right. But when we learn to truly be at peace with the flow, we float. And that's what it means to be in alignment with the flow of life. And this is not some super far away, complicated process. This is a practice that we integrate moment by moment in tiny little practices with basic, simple tools. It's about persistence. It's about consistency. It's about showing up for yourself every single day. We'll get to that in a second because I wanted to offer Brahmari breath. Mudblood, opinions on the pharmaceutical industry and the utilization of it in healing. I do not speak to pharmaceuticals here on live because it is not a topic that I can safely discuss in a public space. I don't know who's in here. I don't know what people are dealing with. If you would like to talk to me directly about it or have a more closed conversation within our Discord, within the community, we can absolutely have those conversations. I encourage you to come into the Discord. But there are certain things I won't talk about on lives, and that's mostly just out of respect for other people's, for individuals' circumstances, and I'm not aware of what's going on with everybody, so I want to be mindful of what I say. Night, honey, you have a great time.
Mama, one last thing.
Yes.
I thought I was gonna do all my classes today, but no at school, correct?
Correct, because I'm using this here. Okay? All right, I love you. Okay, Derek, without further ado, Brahmari breath. And everyone else who wants a really powerful pranayama technique to help clear out the mind, the energy body, this thing is going to shake loose anything that's stuck, okay? So we use the Shanmukhi mudra. We use the Shanmukhi mudra, and it's kind of a different mudra. It's a little bit funny. So keep your eyes open and watch. First, you begin with your fingers, your pinky fingers here at the corners of the mouth. And then you put your ring fingers gently, you're just touching, you're not squeezing together, we're not doing this. So, pinkies just resting at the corner of your mouth. Ring fingers resting at the sides of your nostrils. Do not close your nose. Just resting at this pressure point at the sides of your nostrils. Then your eyes will close and you will rest your middle fingers right on top of your eyelashes. Then your pointer finger will go to the top of your eye socket just below the brow bone. Set right on top of the eye. To practice Brahmari pranayama, you will inhale with your ears open, thumbs out. Then you close your ears with your thumbs, and on the exhale, you release a steady, long hum. So that looks like this. Open the ears to inhale every single time, please. Open your ears to inhale. Close them back up to exhale. You want to be mindful of a couple things. Give yourself a nice, powerful hum. Really sink into it, really lean into it, and if it feels scary or uncomfortable, know that by leaning into it, you will also help clear whatever in your throat chakra is keeping you from humming. You also want to focus on a nice, long, steady hum. If at the end your hum starts to go and shake, stop. Take a deep breath in and start over. And you can focus on extending that hum, strengthening that hum so that it resonates all through you. You can do this several times over. There are just a couple of contradictions. I think it's like high blood pressure, or if you have ear infections and things like that, please be careful when you're using these things because you're opening and closing your ears. As always, you are your own guru. I can't be in your body. I can't be there in your space. So you've got to be mindful of what works for you and what doesn't. There are so many tools out there. If Brahmari does not feel good to you, try modifying first. But if it still doesn't feel good, put it down and say, there's something else for me first. So we'll go through that one more time. Brahmari, it means hummingbee breath or bumblebee breath. Wow, that felt good, right? Let's do it together. This time we will do 3 rounds of it because I love it. So get yourself ready. You can be standing, you can be sitting. I don't care where you are. The only thing I suggest is that you're not slouching because you want to work with the energy body nice and aligned and opened. So pinkies to the corner of your mouth. Gentle, just making an intentional connection. Bring fingers to the edges of your nostrils. Close your eyes and bring your middle fingers to rest on top of your eyelashes. And then your pointer fingers to rest at the top of your eyeball, at the bottom of your brow bone. There it is. Right between your brow bone, where your brow bone and your eye socket meet. Inhale, big deep breath in. Close the ears and hum. Open the ears and inhale. Close the ears and exhale. Really resonate, really echo that through your whole body. Open the ears. Inhale, one last one. Close the ears. Release your hands and keep your eyes closed for a moment. It's important when we're cultivating our awareness of our energy systems and the movements of our energy body to pause after these practices and really sink into whatever we can perceive. This helps to inform the brain. The brain takes in information through our 5 senses. Use those, employ them to teach the brain how powerful these practices are. Do your best not to judge whatever you're feeling as either good or bad, just to notice it without the need to tell a story or to have an emotional response to it. If emotions do come up, let them rise and fall, just the same way your heart rises and falls on your breath. When you feel complete, I always like to take a moment to either bring my hands together into prayer and express gratitude for the opportunity, or just simply lay one over the other over my heart. Same purpose, just to express gratitude for this prana, this life force that is always flowing through the path of least resistance to bring me to my highest good in each moment. Trust that you are connected. Trust that you are grounded. Offer yourself a little gratitude for taking the time for practice today of any kind. Fuck yeah, you showed up for yourself. Woo! And thank you again for joining me in this space. And when you're ready to open your eyes, I highly encourage you to rub your palms together, warm them up, and cup them over your eyeballs before fluttering your eyes open. It assists in the transition. Mahalo, my friend. I appreciate you too, Ghost Monkey. Marty, you're very welcome. You guys are awesome. Thank you, guys. So that's called Brahmari breath. And that one was offered because we've got somebody who was saying that they were having some really dense energy up in the head. I really like to do that pranayama practice several times over until my whole body is vibrating. If you, yeah, feel free. Have at it. Okay, so I have time for just a couple more questions. I guess next week, 2 to 4 p.m. on Wednesday, we will... I'm still sorting out my schedule for this year, guys. So thank you for bearing with me. When I get one set, I will post a schedule to my content. If you're not sure when things are happening, please come join the Discord because that's where you get notifications. So next week from 2 to 4 on Wednesday, the 12th, 2 to 4 Pacific time, I will come on and we will move into the elements because all we did today was talk about the chakras themselves and the Sushumna and the nadis, the energy channels that move around and get our chakras, those wheels turning. The fronts, the backs, the yin, the yang, the colors, the names. We went through this whole awesome, those things of the system. This month, we're also talking about the elements in the body, as well as the koshas, or the sheaths, the different layers of the self within our system. Last month we talked about the aura a little bit, but I'm happy to review stuff, and let me know if you have any questions. Tammy, hey! Let me know if you have any questions regarding the aura. We talked a little bit about, I offered several tools last month for energy clearing, different practices for aligning the aura, and mostly last month was really just about starting to cultivate your awareness of your aura. So again, just as another little side plug, I have a $5 downloadable PDF on patreon.com/move with change. If you download that PDF, you can print it out as many times as you need it. It's why I didn't create a journal. I wanted to create something nice and cheap for you guys to download it and just use over and over again. That will give you everything you need to keep track of the tools you're learning, the information that I'm sharing here. And remember, Tammy, you fear you missed most of this? Well, lucky you. And everybody else, there is a replay over on YouTube. I will always be live on YouTube and usually TikTok unless something happens and they finally take it. I don't know what's going on. So definitely go follow me on YouTube. You will find replays after replays after replays after replays on YouTube. Friday right now, the only things we have scheduled right now is from 2 to 4 Pacific time on Wednesdays. I'll be coming in and teaching and talking about these things, offering tools. Fridays, we have tiny yoga at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it's just chair yoga. And I will also spend some time afterwards talking about these things and offering tools. Friday night, and we have a 4 p.m. Pacific time, what I call watch and weave. Bring your crafts and watch streaming. I'm streaming content from CAYA, the Ancient Civilization series. If you haven't seen it yet and you're interested in the ways that this system connects with the Bible and connects with religious stuff and connects with science and connects with, you want to see how all of these things weave together, come join us on Fridays. But that's only in the Discord. You have to be in the Discord for that. On Saturdays, we have group coaching at 1 p.m. Group coaching is a $22 a month membership. I do private coaching for $90 a session. So $22 a month for 4 group coaching sessions is pretty freaking sweet. I try to keep things manageable for you guys, but also in a good exchange, good value exchange, so that I can keep the lights on, I can keep the internet going, and I can keep food on the table and keep teaching you guys, right? Ghost Monkey, that is a great conversation. You're curious about schizophrenia and definitely curious about what is going on. I don't know how much I can say certain terms on TikTok and YouTube, but in terms of things like, in terms of mental illness, let's say the word dis-ease, imbalance, mental imbalance, physical imbalance, emotional imbalance, all of these things can be linked to the energy system. This is why this is the foundation of everything I teach. We can find links and patterns in the energy system that correlate to physical symptoms, mental symptoms, emotional symptoms. But again, I have to be very careful because we are in the society that we're in, and they don't like free information sharing, and they don't like free information discussion. I don't make these platforms a lot of money, so they tend to hide my content. So if you follow me, sometimes you have to check to make sure you still follow me. Thanks, Ghost Monkey. I really appreciate y'all being here. I really appreciate, I started, thank you for the follow, friend. I started doing these classes now, 2 years ago, teaching for free online, and I initially got a shit ton of pushback. I got a lot of people who were really upset, even messaging me saying, I spent lots of money and a lot of years studying these things that you're giving away for free. And I say, guess what? So did I. So did I. I spent the thousands of dollars and thousands of thousands of hours on studying these things, on practicing these things, on learning how to integrate these things and turn around. And the reality is that this has been an experiment in authenticity. And if I'm truly being authentic, I would give you the information for free. I have always struggled to charge for my classes or for teaching or for this information that I think is your right. I feel this is knowing how your system works. You have that right. I think by the nature of being born, You deserve to know what and who and how this thing works. And knowing that puts you squarely back in the seat of your personal power. And that's a threat to the powers that don't want you powerful, right? To those that would control you, to those that would harvest your resources, your time, your energy, your whatnot. We won't get too deep into it, but we don't live in a world that encourages your self-actualization. We don't live in a world that says, yes, discover your personal power and be authentically you. We live in a world that says, you're supposed to do this, and like this. Otherwise, there's something wrong with you. This knowledge, this understanding has freed me from that. And the people that I share this with and the people that I coach with, I get the same reflection from them. I know it's powerful because it's changed my life. Is it easy? It's only as difficult as we make it. And we're really good at making things difficult. But no one that I've ever met is beyond healing. We just have to choose it. I love you too, friend. Red Mama Yeti, I'm so tired of the paywall. It says that only people with funds can have healing, and that's what I mean. Your wellness is not a luxury. Your personal power is not a luxury. Your time and energy and resources are yours to decide what you want to do with them. And it makes me kind of a bit irate to know that many of us, so many of us, have been conditioned away from our own power, our own healing, our own strength and connection. So this is my radical movement. This is my way of fighting back, is to give you guys the information as much as I can. You're very welcome. Ghost Monkey, you say that my whole goal is self-actualization. I struggle between authenticity and social norms. Totally. It is a balance, and it is discovering how to really be in that place, right? How to be authentic and still live in the world. But the reality is, what I've seen over all these years of working with this and being aware of this stuff in most of my life, is that we are collectively evolving out of all of those social norms. Why are we seeing so much chaos and struggle in life, right, or in our lives and in the world right now? Why are we seeing so much fighting? It's the death rattle of old ways. These systems that were in place before, and the people and the energies benefiting from those systems would like to keep those systems in place. But I believe, because of personal experience and because of what I perceive that I have seen, that as a collective we are waking up. As a collective we are ascending. As I said before, the flow of the universe, the river of the universe, is fucking massive. People can resist. We can fight back. But there's only so much you can do to fight against a tsunami. And the more of us that choose every day to show up authentically, even if it's just for a moment, even if it's just with your partner, even if it's just in a safe space, even if it's just one moment that you hold space for your anxiety today, and the rest of the day you're annoyed by your anxiety, fine. Start in the smallest moments. Stop thinking you've got to do something extravagant and huge to reach your destination. Frodo didn't go from the Shire to the fucking mountain or whatever, right, all at once. We have to take the journey, and that is the gift in our experience. I get to come home to myself because I left home in the first place. I get to learn to love myself because I hated myself first. I get to meet myself every day because I forgot who I was. I get to discover Christ, God, Source, the universe, as it breathes through me and lives within me and outside of me, because I forgot how connected I am. So I encourage all of you to come join us in the Discord. go follow me on YouTube. I move a change. If I'm on the platform, I am move a change. There's no other movement change, but I'm not on all the platforms anymore. I like dumping platforms. So I am on YouTube, I am on TikTok, and I am on Patreon. Follow me on YouTube because that'll be there always, I think, and all of the replays are there. Follow me on TikTok because sometimes I pop onto TikTok for random shenanigans, and I definitely post more content to TikTok, mostly because that's just my favorite way to post. And please interact with my content on TikTok. If you ask me a question in my content, it's easy for me to go respond with video, and I can give you the tool or answer the question right then and there. We can have mini teaching moments as many times as you'd like, but you got to ask the question first. If you follow me on Patreon, you will always get the most important up-to-date information. I don't think I have an RSS feed or whatever over there. I'm still trying to figure out how to use Patreon. But if there's anything there that's really important for the community, that will always be there. Thanks, Dawn. You're awesome, too. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for the follows. Thank you guys for the gifts. Thank you guys for being here, for being you. If the universe did not need you right here, right now, your ass wouldn't fucking be here. So thank you. Thank you for showing up for this crazy fucking journey. Thank you for being willing to meet yourself today. I love you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a hug. You fucking did it. Today you chose you. Okay. I am going to go. And yes, Derek, join the Discord. Everybody join the Discord. The link for the Discord is on Patreon. All right, YouTube. I love you.